You're listening to episode 138 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with Sean Holly.
How I really see a big similarity between how people manage their finances and how people manage their health, because it all tends to come back to your habits and how you live your life.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hant, and welcome to Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we help you create an awesome life and lifestyle. From nutrition to fitness, mindfulness to peak performance, and relationships to money mindset, we bring you on an amazing journey to help you unleash your human potential. So here's a little bit about our guest today, Sean Holly. He's been a personal financial advisor for more than 11 years. He passionately believes that everyone deserves access to the advice and tools needed to plan for a secure future, regardless of accumulated wealth or status. As someone brought up in the age of information technology, one of his favorite hobbies was tinkering with personal electronics and software. This led him to initially pursue a career in technology at the University of Rhode Island, where he acquired a Bachelor of Science in electrical engineering. After exploring a few avenues to which he could use his degree, he decided to apply his skill set to the world of finance. He started his own financial planning practice with the hope of helping others reach their financial goals. While Sean's background is in finance, his truest passion is pursuing personal fitness through weightlifting and nutrition, through home cooking healthy meals for himself and his family. In his life, Sean has lost over 100 pounds without surgery and without the help of any chemicals. Because of this, he likes to advise his clients about how and where to spend their wellness dollar. Your wellness dollar isn't just insurance. Lots of things aren't covered by insurance, and people have to figure out which is the most important to spend their wellness dollar on. He spent a lot of time interviewing personal trainers, dietitians, physical therapists, chiropractors, and general healthcare providers to figure out how to create an effective approach to spending your wellness dollar. Sean lives with his partner, Christina, and his daughter, Judy. Sean enjoys outdoor activities like hiking, camping, and kayaking. So without further ado, here's Sean. Hey everyone, Dr. Josh Hant here at Lifestyle Lock Radio. We have an amazing guest for you today. We've got Sean, as you heard in his bio. He's got a really interesting guy. He likes a lot of things that I like, right? Money, fitness, technology, which we'll get into in a minute because I had a fun issue getting on this call with him. But Sean, welcome, man. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thanks, Dr. Josh. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Very cool. So your story starts way back, and where you are today is not where you may have thought you would have been.
Yeah, not at all.
Years ago. So bring us on this little journey, this, condensed version, as you said. We'll run through how you got to playing with money for a living.
Yeah. Well, to go way back, I grew up in upstate New York, north of the city, but not as far upstate as Albany, for all those people who would say I'm not far enough upstate. Grew up, was really into technology as I was growing up. As a lot of kids, I think in that era that played too much with technology, I was also pretty overweight. But as I got later on in my schooling, high school, middle school, I was more into sports. I was always a little bit active, but I got into football. So of course, football got me more introduced to aspects of fitness. Obviously, football, you lift weights a lot as a high school football player. Really enjoyed that. But toward the end of my high school career, my junior year, my father got transferred out to California in the San Francisco area. So I actually finished high school in San Francisco. As I say, I grew up in New York. And when I got out there, I was really introduced to kind of a different lifestyle approach. If you've ever, people that have been to California, it's that fitness and wellness is just more of a lifestyle norm out there than I think on the East Coast. So that kind of started my struggle with my own health. As a high school senior, I was probably over 300 pounds when I was playing football as a high school senior. So I was an O-lineman. I lost about 70 pounds my last year of high school, and kind of got a feel for how to do that. Of course, then right after that, I went to college. I also played football in college. as an O lineman because that's what I played in high school, and I gained it all back plus more. So by my sophomore year of high school or sophomore year of college, I was probably close to 350 pounds. So I had gained quite a bit back, and I stayed that way throughout college. And then after college, though, it kind of crept up on me again. It caused some lifestyle difficulties, and I was able to lose it again. I got back down to 220 pounds. So I was able to lose over 100 pounds. And through all this, graduating college, I actually went to college. I played football, as I said, but I didn't go to college for anything finance or fitness related. I actually, because of my technology interest, my degree that I got was in electrical engineering. So, of course, that led me to go to jobs where you sat down at a desk a lot. Of course, that plus I got married. I had my daughter with my now ex-wife, and kind of family set in, and I gained the weight back again. And then things happened in my life. Me and my daughter's mother split up, and that kind of left me needing to take another direction. And I was able to go through the process again, and I was again able to lose another 100 pounds for a third time in my life, which is where I'm at now. I'm in the low 200s now. But that kind of through that process, it kind of positioned fitness and wellness as a real passion in my life. And that's aside from my career. During that period of time, I switched from very technology focused. What I found is because of my my interest in fitness and being active, it really made it more difficult for me to be in an engineering role at a lot of places where you sit down at a desk, you just kind of work on computer CAD programs and things along those lines. Also, I like to work with people more. So that kind of led me to the finance industry, where, of course, the finance industry will lure you in with a lot of promises of how they work. They like to recruit engineers because engineers are very technically minded, good at math. But, as I think I've even heard from another guest on your podcast, what they're really bringing you in is to be a salesman in a sales position. But it did enable me to work with people more, which I did prefer to the engineering. So it kind of combined my skills, technology, obviously my analytical skills in finance, and working with people. I ended up in a sales position in financial services. Through my journey through that was during my my third stint of losing weight. I went through that whole process and found myself in a position where I could leave, a big firm where I was more of a salesman, so that I can go independent. So I was able to leave a big firm, become an independent financial advisor. So then I was actually able to focus more on the people and how to help them. And because that combined really well with my fitness background, I was able to kind of bring fitness into it. So I tend to talk to a lot of people about how I use fitness as a passion to change my habits and how that ties in to finances to help them plan their life going forward.
That's interesting. So you said three big up and downs in your weight, and each of those times, and it may be hard to remember those early ones. Were you sensing, like changes, like internally, emotionally, as well as you started to do this, like things like you knew you needed to make changes in your life?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think the first iteration of losing weight really taught me how to look at myself and my habits and how to implement changes in my own personal habits and routines in order to, make those big changes.
Yeah.
Which made it a lot easier the subsequent times when, the circumstances aligned well for me to go back and do it again. I always feel like the first time was definitely the hardest time to teach myself how to change my habits. And then subsequently, it was much easier to go back to those habits to make the changes again.
Yeah. So I want to plan this for a little bit, because you've done this 3 times. Your third time is how long ago? How long ago was that third time?
It was about 6 years ago now.
Okay. So this is you have a very good run. So I think you've changed from a habit to a lifestyle. And we've mentioned that term,
right?
Because you've adopted changes. And do you see, and I know you're going to say yes, I think, because you've created these habits that have been able to create health changes, like you're keeping yourself alive longer and happier.
Yeah.
How do you bring that model now to the way you work with people and the way you work with clients? Like, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I always talk to people about how I really see a big similarity between how people manage their finances and how people manage their health, because it all tends to come back to your habits and how you live your life. You know, the same tools in a lot of cases can be used when you're trying to make changes in your financial life and in your wellness life. For instance, you know, when it's time to put together a weight loss plan, well, what do you need to do? Well, you need to figure out where you're at right now. You got to obviously go to the doctor. You got to make sure you're healthy. Your weight. Some people will check their body mass index or fat, or their lean mass percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a starting point. So you have to do that. And then what do? Is you make changes and you track how those changes
Mm-hmm.
are affecting those metrics. You know, similarly with finance, what do you do when you need to make changes to your finance? You have to sit down. You have to figure out, where am I at now? You know, what's my cash flow? What's my net worth? What's my balance sheet look like? Assets and debts. And then you have to come up with a plan on how to change things, and then recheck those metrics periodically to see where you're at and how those changes are actually impacting your bottom line, just like in health. So they're really very similar in my opinion.
Yeah, and I've been taught. My dad always tells us. He goes, "If you don't track it, it can never grow.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't know where
have
you are."
yeah, you don't know where you are. You can't. There's no reinforcement mechanism. You know, you don't have any proof that what you're doing is working. You know, unless it's dramatic enough that you can see it. But usually, it takes so long for anything dramatic to happen that you'll have given up by then in a lot of cases. You know, whereas if you track it, you can see those incremental changes. That gives you that reinforcement to say, oh, this is working. I can keep doing this.
Yeah, and you can course correct also, right? If you have
Yeah.
data.
Right. Yeah. If it's not working, okay, well, now something I need to do. I need to do something different. And I need to go a different direction. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you talk about with your clients using a wellness dollar. What does that mean?
Well, when I take a look at wellness dollar, people today are challenged by the way the healthcare system works. And obviously, I'm not going to make this a political talk,
of course.
But the healthcare system can be challenging to navigate, because you have people that just want to monitor their basic health. They just go to their doctor, get their physical once a year, all the way up to wellness enthusiasts, which is more along my spectrum, and a lot of people that I do interact with, where they want more than just what average healthcare can provide. They want to do blood tests that check hormone levels, vitamin levels.
Yeah, they want to thrive, not survive.
Yeah, right. Checking your body fat percentage on a periodic basis, things like that. And what you find is that standard healthcare doesn't cover any of those costs. And, you have a range of people. Obviously you have people that are wealthy enough that they can just pay for all this stuff out of pocket, and it's fine. But, I also deal with people who, they're doing okay, but they don't have, thousands of extra dollars a year to spend on wellness, but they want to. They have a desire to live a better lifestyle. So then you have to take a look at, like, well, what are your options there? I don't really consider myself, as much as my job title is financial advisor or wealth manager. I really consider myself more of a resource management expert than just a money management expert, because money is just the tool that you use to get the things that you want in life. I mean, honestly, when I talk to people, it's probably one of the last things I talk about is actually how much money they have. You got to figure out a whole slew of other things: where they're at, what their goals are, what they're passionate about. And if you talk to somebody whose passion is wellness, start talking about, well, how much do you spend on wellness, and how do you leverage those costs? If you're saying, well, I'd like to do this, but it costs too much money, like you say, well, I want to, on a low level, I want to eat better, but I can't afford to buy groceries every week from Whole Foods, or Whole Paycheck, as people like to call it. I said, well, what kind of bang for your buck can you get doing other things, like, are there local farmers markets? Can you get into food share programs? I mean, in my area, I'm in the Northeast. I'm in a share program where every month I get pasture raised meats and produce delivered to my house for a much more reasonable price than if I were to buy that directly just from, like, a Whole Foods every week. And that's just basic nutrition. A lot of things you can go to your local supermarket and you can get 90% of the benefit by just buying, fresh produce as opposed to buying packaged food, for instance. What are you trying to do to improve your wellness? And then, you can go beyond that when you talk about, how do you exercise? Where do you go for exercise? Do you need a personal trainer? What type of tests do you want to get to monitor your wellness? A lot of times you can find, like, for instance, body fat testing. You can often find places that will do body fat tests. Like, I know one of the local colleges around me. If you're an alumni, for instance, of a local college, you can actually go get a body mass, the chamber test, the volume test, and a much cheaper than if you were to go to, like, a private business that was charging you for a DEXA scan or something like that. Really looking around and seeing, what resources are available to you, and how can I really make the most out of my wellness dollar? Because let's face it, your health insurance, even if you have the best plan, is not going to pay for you to do much more than keep yourself from getting sick. As opposed to, like you say, if you want to thrive, if you want to pursue performance, if you want to pursue maximum health, longevity, you're going to have to go above and beyond what your health insurance actually will pay for.
Yeah. Well, it's like what health insurance takes care of your health, the way life insurance takes care of your life.
Right. Yeah. Only when it goes wrong.
Exactly. Right.
So, really evaluating how using tax advantaged accounts is another example. Do you have access to things like a flex spending account or a health spending account where you can put money in there and then you can actually pay for wellness services with tax-free dollars, which can stretch it even further.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you approaching all that stuff? And that's kind of what I think about when I think about wellness dollar. Don't just take for granted that it's too expensive, I can't afford it. Well, how are ways that you can afford it?
Yeah. And I'm thinking this, when you have clients that will say, like, you have those clients that have money, right? That are like, we can spend money on anything that we need to spend money on. Do you, even if they're not health minded, how do you bring this conversation to their life? Because, if I'm worth $100 million, let's say, and I'm working with you, but, I'm eating, like, McDonald's and, like, just packaged garbage food on a regular basis. Like, what's the benefit to me hiring someone that's going to help me create more wealth if I'm killing myself?
Absolutely. This is where you can get into a tough conversation with people, and this is where money gets put aside in favor of, what are you trying to accomplish in life? So you really have to dig in with people. It's okay. You're accumulating all this money. You've obviously been very successful. You've accumulated all this wealth. What is it for? What is the goal? Do you have kids? Do you aspire for your kids or your grandkids? If you don't have kids, what are you looking to do with this money? And then, to your point, you say, okay, so you have this plan. You didn't just work for the sake of, or work or build wealth for the sake of just having a big number on a statement somewhere. What's that worth? That's worth nothing when you're not here anymore. What was your plan to do? Okay, so if you're planning to do this, do you expect to be here for very long to do these things? If you continue to live the lifestyle you're living right now. And yeah, I'll turn around. Talk about wellness. People, if you have somebody who's sitting across from you who's got, like you say, $100 million, even $1 million, or $2-3 million, which would be enough to last them, if they're a middle class lifestyle, probably a decent retirement or well into their maybe 80s or 90s. But, they're struggling with type 2 diabetes or something like that, or other degenerative diseases. It's like, we have this great plan. You did everything you could, but what are the chances you're actually going to be here to enjoy the fruits of your labor? Maybe we really need to take a look at how you're going about your life to do these things that you've planned and worked so hard to accomplish, but there's a high likelihood you'll never see that. And, your heirs or, if you don't plan properly, the government ends up taking your money in the end if you have too much of it, right? So, really bringing it back to what are the reasons? The money is not the reason, money is the tool. If the reasons are, I want to do this, this, and this, I want to see my grandkids. Well, okay, are you doing the things for yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? And that's not just, weight. That could be any number of things. Are you doing things you enjoy? Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your mental and emotional health? Are you nurturing your relationships? That's another thing that comes up in meetings. I've played marriage counselor for clients at times, because it's like, well, what is the thing that is driving you to want to accomplish these things in your life? Use this money for various things, and then you can dig down to, once you get to the emotion of it, that's when you can highlight something. Maybe we need to make a change. Maybe we need to go see somebody else. Maybe you need to go see. I work with a lot of other professionals where maybe you need to go see a dietitian or a personal trainer or something like that. That's going to redirect to help you fix the other areas of your life. Okay, money's great, but if everything else is falling apart, the money's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah, so I kind of see you as like someone that makes someone wake up and find their purpose or their mission, not like find it, but like uncover it.
Yeah.
So then they have that drive to save more, to whatever it needs to be, invest more. But then I think that wellness style that you're talking about becomes an investment, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have health, you don't have anything anyway.
No.
So that's pretty neat. I mean, I like the way you get to, take care of the human.
Yeah.
Versus just the bank account.
Yeah. I mean, because the bank account's not really the valuable part of the equation. You know what I mean? Yes, it's probably one of the most impactful tools I work with, and hence it's why that's how I make my living, is helping people with their money. But if you don't take care of the other things before the money, it's not going to do anything for somebody. It's just going to sit there. It's going to get passed on to somebody else, or it's going to be used, or it could be used in a way that doesn't further your goals. Used for poor lifestyle decisions, or thrown at things for the sake of feeling better about yourself. Things like impulse spending or overeating and all. It's same difference. Impulse spending and overeating, wellness and finance. I mean, they're almost interchangeable at times.
Yeah. So when you're working with clients, because I know you're coming from your background, your engineering background, being analytical, being data based and metric based. How much of that do you bring to your clients, or how much, I don't want to say like you force them to do things, but how do you go about teaching someone that has zero control over like everything in their life, and say, you want to go here, but how do you train them to do that?
Well, I mean, it's not an overnight process.
Yeah.
That's why, a lot of times you'll talk to financial professionals, and what they do is, they often have a book or a program or something along those lines to help people reach their goals, which I think are great. Those can be some great tools, but I approach it as more of a one-on-one. You have to figure out where a person's at, and through that, you can figure out how to help them get where they want to go. So in some cases, I have to do things for them. You might have to say, like you say, I'm very data driven. So I need to collect, just because of my personality, I need to collect the data to know how I'm going to approach a problem. But a client may not really want to be all that involved in that data analytic. They just want me to figure out from the information they give me, where they need to go, and then tell them where to go and how we're going to get there. Sometimes I have to hold them by the hand. Sometimes they're analytic like me, and I can say, oh no, we can just use these tools. I can help you use these tools to monitor and change. And some people, you just think, oh, you give me the information, I'll use the tools for you and then report back. I mean, it really depends on the person.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Myself,
so
yes.
You're not forcing something on someone.
No, because if you force something on somebody, it has a very low likelihood of being adopted. You have to meet people where they are, and then help them move forward. And sometimes the way I help one person is not the way I help another, because it won't work. It won't actually facilitate any behavior change or habit change or any of those things that they're hoping to get out of me. So you really have to evaluate it on a person-to-person basis.
Okay.
That's why I do it that way.
Okay, so you're getting my brain going. That's why I'm going to keep asking questions in a general direction here. So you're helping your clients move. Let's say you have a day one person, you help them through that process of finding their purpose and what they want to do and all of their whys. How long does it generally take for someone to realize, or not to realize, to adopt some, like, oh, wow, I should be tracking this. I should be doing this. I should be eating a little health. Like, how long do you see that Is it a month? Is it 3 months, 4 months, a year?
Again, I think it's a really individual thing. I mean, I think it depends on, how well me and the other person actually connect, and I can, identify what those issues are. So sometimes it could be as little as 2 or 3 meetings, which might span over the course of, a month. Sometimes I've had clients where it's taken me years to get to, I've helped them with things along the way, but to get to that realization was like, oh, this is what we're trying to, this is where we've been going all along. Yeah, I've had clients that takes that long, in order to have that realization. Again, it depends on where you're at and how willing or how able you are to adopt a new mindset too. I mean, you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard it from multiple people. Mindset is everything. So you really got to find out a person's mindset to figure out, how we're going to impact that mindset to get them to the next level where they're trying to get.
Yeah. So, and with this, I'm thinking it's like running a marathon, right? Where you start this process. It's not a sprint for anybody.
No.
Are there ways, I'm trying to just relate to myself as far as an athlete goes, and putting this into maybe financial terms with you, since you're the expert here. Are there, like I'm a long distance runner, so you like the slow choo-choo train that just keeps going.
Right.
As far as when we look at like financial big picture, are there times that you're going to have sprints where you have to do lots of things and then you start to coast, or is it like a slow coast the whole time, like a marathon the whole time?
Yeah, I think I would say it's not as much. It is a marathon in terms of consistency, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I mean.
But I think, the actions that you take are often, again, much like behavior change in, say, a dietary fashion. You make a change, and then you implement that change and be consistent with it for a period of time, and then you might make another change. I think, just general behavior change, science, if you will, usually looks at, you want to incrementally change things and then instill new habits. So if somebody's a total mess, I'm not going to come in and say, oh, wow, we got to change this list of 20 things tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. It's like the person that says, well, geez, I got to lose 100 pounds. I got to quit smoking. I got to quit drinking. And, I got to break up with my girlfriend. And I'm going to do all this within the next month. That's unrealistic. You're going to fall apart. Half those things are going to not happen the way you want them to, and you're not even going to stick to the other half. So, your point, I think it's more, you make a change and you measure its impact until you're ready for that next change. And yes, it could take, years for you to get where you want to go, depending on how many changes you need to make, how able you are to adopt the various behavior changes. And some people, I think, are better at changing behavior than others. I've certainly experienced people where it's like, okay, we'll do this next month. Okay, I'm ready to implement a new change. Okay, I'm ready to do this. And then other people, they might go 6 months before, or a year before they're ready to take on something new or make another major change.
Okay. Do you find that people that are in like a bad place financially, mentally, physically, like were willing to work harder, faster, or it's hard to say that?
Well, I think, like anything, when somebody has reached out for help, they're obviously ready to do something,
Yeah. Okay.
I do think that, there's a connection between when they actually do reach out for help, they're often willing to work pretty hard to get, but it's not so much working hard, when they come and see you. It's again, the consistency of it. You might find somebody's really enthusiastic about making the change, and then they're implementing your recommendations over the course of a month, and then they fall off, and then they can't. So there's usually a lot of energy up front. It's the ability to stick with new behaviors and new habits over the long term, and that's why when you're evaluating somebody where they're at, you really have to say, well, what's going to be too much? And I think that's the dial that I try to tune is.
Yeah.
How much can this person handle in any given time, so that it will stick, as opposed to trying to implement too many changes and just getting overwhelmed and falling off the plan altogether.
Okay.
So.
And yeah, we'll go. I want to go here for a second. When you're working with people, I know you work with probably a wide range of people,
Yeah.
and in different fields and different things. Like as far as like your ideal, or your like, me and this type of person resonate really well, really quick, and we can move really fast and create great things. What is it? What is that person? Does that person have like a specific job, or a specific thing that they do as far as work?
It's not a specific. It's funny. A lot of times, um, the clients that take me a little more time to really impact are people that are more like me. Believe it or not, people that are very technically minded engineers. Because a lot of times they want to fix things themselves, and they're just looking for information, really, to that they can turn around and implement themselves. Whereas a person who's open to coaching, you know what I mean? Open to coaching. I think that's, again, true across all the spectrums we're talking about here. If you're open to coaching and open to guidance, the rest doesn't really, it's not as important. I mean, I will say, yes, if you're wellness minded, it's going to be easier for me to understand certain aspects. It's like if somebody comes into me and says, I spend X number of dollars on food each month because I really care about my health. That I identify with that, so that I don't have any commentary of that. But if somebody comes in and they, maybe they spend $1,500 a month on their car, which is totally legitimate, and I never criticize somebody for that spending type. Everybody's got their own thing, but I don't identify with that particular goal as much. I mean, I'm the kind of person that'll spend more on my health than I will on my transportation, for instance. So, but really, you hear this a lot, coachability, the ability to take advice. I mean, that's the deciding factor on how effective I'm going to be with anybody. If you're not willing to truly take advice, and I can usually figure that out about a person fairly quickly within a few meetings, two, 3 phone calls at the most, I can figure out if somebody's actually willing to take advice, or if they're just kind of fishing for information.
Yeah.
They may or may not implement.
So with that, do you ever find yourself, I know as me as a podcaster, but also as a full-time chiropractor, it's very infrequent, but there are some people that I'll have to say no to, even though they may want to be there. I have to say, listen, it's not going to be a great fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have that same type of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's two sides. It might not be a great fit for me, but I also have 2 partners that I work with at my firm. Okay. And one's an older gentleman, and the other one is actually his daughter, who's a woman about the same age as me, a little younger than me. And we all kind of come from different places. So even within my firm, I might find out that, we don't really work together, but my partner Christina might be a better fit for you.
Okay.
Kind of
Fair enough.
a little bit different. Or my partner Dan, he comes a little bit more from your walk of life, so he might be a better fit for you.
Okay.
Or somebody outside of my firm. I mean, you can't be a fit for everything.
Exactly. I was just curious because I know, working with other humans just like you do, there are going to be things that are going to, we can get great results, I think, with anybody that, as far as chiropractic, that has a spine.
Right.
But that personality, the person behind the skin, if we don't mesh, I'm not into having a battle with anybody ever. That's not my mission in life. I'd rather say, listen, there's a great chiropractor down the block. You can, I'll give you all your details and we can get you set up over there, type of thing.
Sometimes I'll even find that, you have the people who really, they're just kind of a do-it-yourself type person.
Okay.
And, I don't try to fit, a square peg into a round hole. I mean, I'll give them the tools, or I'll give them my recommendations for tools that would help them. I'll tell them, give me a call if you need any further advice. But, I think you probably just want to do this on your own, and you're just looking for more resources to do that. And if that's the case, hey, being a technology background, I still do a lot of my own tech work myself. I spec out my own computers. I don't really want to pay somebody to do that because I have a background in it. And if that's the case with finances, I'll tell somebody that, it sounds like, you really just, somebody maybe planted in your head that you should go get a financial advisor, but, it looks like you really just want to do this on your own, and you're not really open to advice, and you just kind of want information on how to do it yourself. And that's okay too. You just got to understand that about yourself.
Okay. So I want to finish with this. If you have someone in front of you that just wants to get like the 3 best things to do, like our audience right now, for Lifestyle Locker Radio, what are 3 simple, actionable items that they can do tomorrow to either spend their wellness dollar on, increase their overall wealth? You pick.
Well, I mean, I think from a financial side of things, make sure you're saving make sure you're saving something on a monthly basis, and it's automatic. I mean, I think most financial advisors tell you that. I think it's pretty sound advice. Everybody's going to need savings at some point. Put it on autopilot somewhere. From a wellness side of things or from a finance side of things, if you have something you want to change, start tracking it. There's tons and tons of tools out there that'll help you track anything you want to track. You can track your sleep, you can track your budget, you can track your calories, you can track your anything. So find something you want to change and start tracking it. And the third thing would be is if you can't find any way to move forward on something, go seek some help. And if the first person isn't the right fit for you, go seek somebody else. Don't give up after the first time. So I think those are the 3 things that I would.
Well, I like those 3 things, and they're actually things that I'd love to do. So audience, please listen and take these action steps. I don't get to bring on experts like Sean just for the fun of it. I love to create conversations, but he's an expert. I mean, I hope you do connect with him. And Sean, what's the best place for people to connect directly with you?
Yeah, my firm is a firm in Rhode Island called Innovative Planning Partners. You can go right to our website, myinnovativeplan.com, all one string. Actually, all of me and my partners' bio information is at the bottom of the page. And if you want to talk to me, you can book a consultation call. I don't charge for consultations right there on the webpage, and we can chat for a half hour and see if there's anything I can help you with. You can also get us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook, it's Innovative Planning Partners on Facebook.
Yeah, and we'll put all those deets in the show notes so people can don't have to worry about spelling.
Yeah, SEAN, the proper way.
Exactly.
Sorry to all the non-SEAN Seans out there.
So I have this one last question though. You mentioned savings, and I think that's important. Do you have a savings type plan? Do you tell people to save a percentage? If they made $100 this week, are you saving 10%? Or are you setting a fixed amount regardless?
There's always ideals, and my feeling is save what you can and then increase it on a periodic basis.
Okay.
It'd be great for everybody to save 10%, but I meet people all the time that just can't do that today. Okay, well then we got to get there. Start saving $50, and then we'll just have a plan to increase it over time. That's what you do.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm just a question guy, I gotta,
No,
I'm in this for me too,
Absolutely. I enjoy all the questions. It's what I do for a living is I answer people's questions.
Exactly. Well, everyone, Sean Holly, thank you so much. This was an awesome conversation. I am glad to connect with you and connect our audience with you. You're close to home to me, well, like a few hour drive, but nonetheless, glad to share the platform here with another person from the Northeast and the financial world too. So Sean, I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Dr. Josh. I appreciate it. Had a great time.
Hello again, Locker Nation. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Sean. If you want to connect with him, please do. I'll have all his details in the show notes for you. You just have to scroll down and look, and you can find all of the show notes if you're watching on your computer or if you're listening via, a mobile device. It is lifestylelocker.com/Sean Holly. And as he says, it's spelled the correct way. It's lifestylelocker.com/SEANHOLLY. Until next time, Locker Nation, make sure you do stay connected with us on social, on iTunes, of course, or wherever you are listening and downloading. If you find value in these shows, please share with your friends. We do appreciate that. Also, iTunes loves when we get our positive reviews. They let us know as well. So please head over to iTunes or wherever you're listening to. Please give us a 5-star review. It does help us get our message out to more people. All right, because we care about you, we care about the world, and we want you to live an awesome, happy, healthy lifestyle and unleash your human potential. All right, y'all. Have a great day, evening, or night. See you soon. Bye-bye.